Today we're going to be talking about the PRISMVERSE clash, what do you need to do before moving to it, what you should bring, what you should not do, how the scenario works. First things first, this server that I am in right now is a normal mode server. It is not hard mode, and there is no single PRISMVERSE clash server that is hard moded. PRISMVERSE clash is a completely different scenario. Comparing Evolution's Call, where the warband system existed, it is a complete different game. PRISMVERSE clash rating system is now revamped and reworked. That means that you won't be able to break a wall with 2 C4s or something. You will need to dunk a lot of C4s just to break one wall. Or you will need to swing the wall about 5,000 times with your stun baton to break a wall. It's basically going to take forever, and during nighttime from 12 p.m. till 12 a.m. your buildings will receive a damage reduction by 70%. Now that being said, Molotovs are useless against stone walls and only good against wood buildings. But even then, even if you have a lot of Molotovs, it will take you a long time to break a wooden wall or wooden foundation. So don't worry about your base being raided. And also another thing is that you can't even get raided if your base is in the safe zone. Your base has to be in the contested zone. For the banners, you will get only 2 banners to roll, which is this and this. There will be no other banners. And these banners seem to actually suck. If you hover over them and click the exclamation mark, you can see what you get. So Memento, Willfire, Shotgun, again Willfire. And you can read whatever you're getting here. And if you need it or not. It's depending on you if you roll for them. Now, when you join the server, you get to choose a faction. If you choose Mayflies, your character will spawn in this area and you'll be in the safe zone. When you're in a safe zone, you cannot be raided. And how do you know if you're in a safe zone? On the top right corner, it says no PvP. Or you can just open your map and check if your character's in the green safe zone. You can also build your base in safe zones. Now, you might be wondering, should I pick Mayfly or Rosetta? It doesn't matter what you pick. It's all up to you. In our server, Mayflies are winning. Rosetta seems to be sleeping or AFKing, but it does not matter what side you pick. I'm not sure if you can check in the tutorial island when you make a character whoever's losing, if you press escape and click here. If you want to quickly join a winning faction, then just join Mayflies if they're winning, or Rosetta if they're winning. But if you want to join a losing faction, then feel free to do so as well. Now, for Rosetta's faction, if you decide to join them, you'll obviously spawn in exactly in the zone, but just remember that Mayflies can do the same. They can just take their bike and just instantly drive to the zone, move their base here, and start doing whatever they want. If they want to pump oil or whatever, they're able to do all of that. So realistically, there's no advantage. If you take a look at Blackfell is level 1, and you will get the same materials, tier 1 materials, that Mayfly will get in the exact same location, Deadsville. So, Citrus County, recommended level 4. Monolith of Greed, Danger Zone, level 9. And if you check at Blackfell, it's level 10. This right here is level 8, Blackfell Oil Fields. So, the devs have balanced it completely, and you will not be able to get tier 5 or any advantages or anything other than that. Of course, that would make no sense. Inside the safe zone, you will find basic materials and basic tier loot from POIs. However, if you want to get better materials, you will have to go outside the safe zone and loot these POIs that are in the PvP zone. We call them contested zones, and if you hover your mouse over here, it says on the bottom right, contest area. That is a PvP zone. Anything that is inside a safe zone, on the bottom right, you can see it's safe zone. So all of these areas here that I'm hovering my mouse on is contest area. And you might also see that Alpha Monolith right now is moved over here instead of over here. Iron River is even locked. And that will be unlocked once you hit phase 2. If you click on every phase, you can see what's unlocked. So on phase 2, we will get hard mode. On phase 3, we will get pro mode. And the season ends on phase 4. This whole season lasts 19 days. This one, the first phase being 5 days, this one being 7, and this one being 7 as well. The season is short, and season goals, we have only 3 phases. So we get only 3 of these things to claim here for loot. And obviously it's the same, Starchrome rewards and all of that. Now you might be also wondering, what's the point of the safe zone? It's just so you don't get griefed by other players. Meaning you can still build your base here if you want to avoid PvP and just do some farming or something. But as soon as you want to go out and be in the PvP zone, there is completely no point to build outside of the safe zone or in a PvP zone. The only purpose is to purify a prism deviation. Now, this is our safe zone. We're still inside the safe zone. If I open my map, you can see the border of the PvP zone. So as soon as I leave, it says, boom, warning, you're entering a faction battle, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm actually in PvP mode right now, even though I'm still in save zone. But you can see on the top, it's a countdown. And then boom, we go back to the PvE mode. If you hold P, nothing's gonna happen. There's no flagging system in this scenario anymore. So it's completely open PvP everywhere you go as soon as you step out of the save zone. Even if you enter the save zone, remember, players can shoot you from this side here. You just need to wait 6 seconds for it to disappear. Now, since we are in the contested area, you can see that we get tin ores and stuff, iron ores, but in the save zone, you won't get that. If you move your base here, then remember, your base can be raided, even if you're offline, even if you're far away. As long as your base is in a PvP zone, which is here outside the save zone, you can get raided. Now you move your base only for one purpose again, and that is purifying prism deviations. On the screen right now, you can see prism deviations and where to get them. Mostly you will get prism deviations from public events. If you open your map and press X, you can see if they're available here. Now it says coming soon. I guess that's just bugged, but the 2 events that spawn right here is the swamp event, which spawns all the time over here every 1 hour. Same with dig to hell event. It spawns over here at the cave. The other ways to get these prism deviations is just mine rocks in contested zones. Either fish in the water, and you have a chance to get these prism deviations. Now, what happens when you get a prism deviation? Well, it will drop on the ground, and as soon as it drops, when you press map and click prism energy, you can actually see a red marked area of where they are. So as soon as it drops, and if someone was watching the map and they clicked here, and if they were scouting or something, boom, they find that there's a red area, just know that they're coming and they will be here. So the thing is, when it drops on the ground, you secure it and it will appear in your inventory over here. And it will have a diamond icon near it on the top left corner of the deviation marked, just like this mini wonder has a bound icon. So you will see a diamond icon instead. And whenever you pick it up, your teammates can see a diamond icon near your HP bar as well. With that, what do you have to do now? You obviously have to build your base in the contested zone, like so. You build a base, and then all you need to do is put the prism deviation inside the isolated securement unit. The way you build that is you click facilities, function facility, and just build a securement unit. Once you do put it in, you have to wait 30 minutes for purifying. Other deviations will take 2 hours, and these are the ones that are going to take a long time to purify, but they will give you a lot of points. So make sure while you're purifying it, you click enter in the faction chat, say, hey guys, help me purify here, boom, 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 you know, because you get to see and talk with your faction. Another thing is you don't have to purify it in your own base. If you press U, friends, and if you're playing with a hive, you can give permissions to each other like so. All you need to do though is just give access to facilities. Your teammate can go in your base. If it's in a contested zone, they can just put in the prism deviation in someone else's base while your base is in a safe zone. And as soon as it's done in 30 minutes, whoever puts the deviation inside the cage is the one who's going to get points. Like as you can see here, we get points for purifying. Personal prism energy is 30. You get 10 points for purifying one normal deviation. And you get around, I think, 200 or something if you purify the legendary prism deviation. Now, if you click here, these are the rankings for the prism deviations. And you can see that this is player-based ranking. So top 1 player has 230 prism energy, and the way they get it is they just purify 23 deviations. Here you can see on the left side, everyone gets these star crumbs as soon as you reach the amount of prism energy. So if this reaches 6,000, if we purify 6,000 of prism energy, you'll be able to claim these rewards here. And for the rankings now, you click view reward details, and this is basically going to give you only 2,500 star crumb for being ranked from top 1 to 10. So at first you will get 1,500, you will put the crate down, you will receive the 1,500 star crumb, and then after you have to tell people to open your crate, and after 20 people open your crate, you get 1,000 star crumb sent to the mail. That's it for the rankings, and you can check what others will give you as well. Now, since this is mostly you're going to be doing PvE and PvP, what I transferred this season was the Masonic Pyramid, just a level 5 to make myself some of these potions, Predator and Parapsychology. It costs 800 points to transfer it, and the way you transfer stuff, you just click here in your inventory and just transfer any deviation you want. I also transferred a level 5 gel, a level 5 Mini Wonder. Definitely need to transfer a level 5 Shefazaris because that will help you with food buffs for PvP and PvE, of course. I don't recommend transferring Digby boys, they're kind of trash. If you want to get a head start, you can transfer H37 robot. So the way you get H37, you just go to the alpha silo, which is here. The icon's not showing up for some reason, it's bugged. And it's located on Chalk Peak if you're still an old server, but this area is called Western Blackfell Contest Area. And the funny thing is they moved the spider here as well for literally no reason. I don't know why. If you don't have an H37, you can go to this spot right here where I am on the map, into Evergreen. Go into this kitchen here and you'll find a paper doll. It's really common for it to spawn here, so you should be able to get it. Now if you wear better gloves, I have tier 1 gloves on, so the rate will be very low. But once you swap it, your chance will be higher. Now we got a level 3 paper doll, you would need to get a level 4. These are good and all, but H37 is way better than the paper doll because they yield you more mats, because paper dolls are easier to get. So if your H37 was level 5, you will get tier 5 materials. If it's level 4, you will get tier 4 materials. You cannot really craft tier 5 materials in this phase. You can only craft tier 4 max. What you can also do is craft a drill, a solar drill, if you have the perk for it, but I don't have it, so I cannot show you. And if you have the Rosetta gathering drone, you can actually farm aluminum ores next to the edges of these zones. If you want to have a slight edge in phase 1, that's what you can do. Lastly, about the prism deviations, once you get it from a event, you cannot enter the save zone, you cannot teleport, and you probably cannot switch worlds. Although I did not try that. If you can switch worlds, you probably should be able to. And I don't know if you can use the teleport towers. You most likely have to just drive or walk when you carry them. And if you log out, they will be dropped. And if you enter the save zone, they will also be dropped, as that would be unfair if you could just exploit it. Now for the base defense, all you need to do is probably build just, you know, some foundations, build a 4x4 or 2x2, up to you. Stack some walls, do some honeycombing, like 1 layer, 2nd layer of walls, 3 layers of walls, and just put the deviation unit in the core or something. You can obviously stack walls like this as well, build multiple foundation like so. Now obviously you will need to upgrade your base if you're running out of structure. Right now your base design doesn't really matter, you can build a simple base, but on phase 2 when people unlock rockets and Gatling cannons, this is when it might actually require a bigger base, and you would probably need to expand your territory and build a way bigger base. Although do note, when you try to move your base, you will need to find a flat area, because you won't be able to move it if it has weird terrain. Another thing is if you have friends that are from Rosetta, but you are in Mayfly or vice versa, you will not be able to trade with them, you will not be able to invite them to the team, and you will not be able to give them building permissions. That is just simply to avoid people doing shady stuff, you know. So you can only trade with your own faction. And the last thing is memetics, gold perks. So on the first lot, you will get either a injection perk, which is a Mayfly perk. And now do note, if you're a Mayfly or Rosetta, it doesn't matter. You will get either a drone perk or Mayfly perk. It's random. You can get random perks, okay? So it does not matter at all. Now, we got an injection here, and what these injections do is you just need to read the stats, what they do. Here it says, you will unlock a new formula, a gene extractor, and a judgment coherence injection. Now, you get to choose 4 different types of injections. It could be a speed coherence injection, or it could be a judgment coherence injection. You just need to choose the type and read what the stats does. Choose the one that you like the most. Do note that you can trade with other players, so you can ask around what they have and just ask what they might need. And basically, if we keep reading this here, the coherence status ends after taking damage equal to 70% of your max HP. So this will disappear once you take 70% damage of however much HP you have. If my HP is now full, all I need to do is just drop my HP over here and boom, the coherence status is going to disappear. And this is the injection, by the way. You inject it and boom, you have now superpowers. How this works is you have to go to a bench, click on the gene extractor, and you have to make it first. And what this does is while carrying this item in your backpack, you gain the effect defeating deviants grants gene fragments based on enemy types. Now if you kill normal deviants, which are these, or normal zombies, when you kill them you will get deviant fragments. Look, deviant fragment on the left. For that you would have to have the gene extractor, and it expires after 14 days after you craft it. Now the thing is, you have to learn the first perk to get that gene extractor. Or if you don't want to learn it, then ask someone to craft it for you. Everyone gets this, so if you have a perk that you don't want to learn, then just wait it out. This also gives you a deviant fragment. I would have to kill a zombie that looks like this to get an anima fragment from it. But we did not get. Unlucky. And if you decide to loot Blackfield right now, you will get blue mods instead of gold mods. So just a quick note. Don't be scared. It's not a bug. It's normal. There goes another. I call them headlight zombies, so... And now we got an anima fragment for killing it. And you can simply just hover your mouse on it and it says genetic data left by enemies who have survived by fusing with objects. Now when it comes to elite bosses, which are these, they will give us Starlift when we kill them. And that's what it is. The genetic data left by powerful enemies perfectly merged with Stardust energy. So this is also an elite mob. Ede, whatever this guy's name is. He's kind of annoying to deal with if you don't be careful. But he also gives us Starlift as I kill him. As you can see, now we have 2. So you'll have to kill these elite enemies as you come across them. Just basically kill every single mob. It's not that, expensive. Get yourself a melee weapon and you can just one-tap everything. But I enjoy tapping headshots when I kill them, so that's the way how I farm mobs. Now, when you kill boxes right here, it's called a Morphic. Morphics will give you the last fragment that you will need. This guy right here as well. If I kill this, I will get a fragment called Matterlift. Genetic data left by enemies will gain power from lifeless objects. So it's just basically killing these boxes that you find when you loot crates. The thing just pops out and jump scares you. Or whenever you're looting a house and then there's suddenly a fridge popping out of nowhere, then that's what will give you Matterlift fragments. I believe this enemy right here is also a lifeless object. So we kill it and we didn't get any fragment, but maybe that also gives us Matterlift. And yeah, just try to find these elite enemies when you loot. Don't miss them out, because maybe eventually someone will want to get an injection to trade, and you'll be able to craft these injections like this and drop it to other players. Now, the easiest way to get Matterlift is you just look around for Morphic crates. So there's one Morphic crate right here where I am on the map. I will post a full map link where you can find them. All you need to do is click filter. On the right side, click Morphic crates, and you will get that filtered for you. And you just look for Morphic crates on the map and get there. Once you do, you just wait till your backpack blinks a lot, like so. You scan, and that thing is gonna spawn right here. You kill this thing, and look on the left side, we will get Matterlift for killing it. This will be the easiest way to get these points. However, do note, if you kill these things before you get the gene extractor, you will not get Matterlift for killing these boxes. So now for the perks, when you choose a injection, you can also choose additional genes for them. For example, the lighting gene right here. Now, on the first and second slot, you can get either the drone or injection. On the fourth slot, you can get a gene or probably a drone module. On the 7th slot, you can get either a drone module or a gene, which might be this. And on this 8th slot, you can get a gene for your armor piece. Now, I think you cannot trade this perk because it's basically crafting your own armor. And it says, if this gear is a top, it gains a bonus effect, while in the coherent status, when attacked, a lightning strike will be generated under the attacker's feet. After 3 seconds delay, it will deal damage equal to 4000 PSI intensity. Cooldown 30 seconds. If I go craft a top piece right now, it has to be tier 5, and you can see there's a new special slot that appears. You can actually see what these fabrics do. So if I put in, let's say, proliferation fabric here, and you hover your mouse on it, it says the gear being crafted gains the following effects. Max load 10%. It gains a bonus effect while in the coherent status. Convert a small amount of barreled crude oil in your backpack into portable mixed fuel every 30 seconds. Now you can have only one perk, so you either choose this PvE perk that converts your crude oil into fuel, or you do, for example, this one, Extreme Gene Fabric, weak spot damage reduction 3%. And when you lose a coherent status here, you will gain invincibility, but you will lose weapon damage and status damage. And tactical damage will drop to 0 for 2 seconds. So you'll be basically invincible, you'll be able to move, but deal no damage. And what is a coherent status is basically the injection that you craft. So we use the injection, we're now in coherent status. When your hands are glowing, that means you're in coherent status. Different injections do different things. So for example, my injection that I have is Judgment, And it says after using the judgment coherence, each enemy defeated grants 1 coherence with the following effects. Now I'll get into that later, but since I injected the injection and used it, it's unlimited uses by the way, and if I kill an enemy, you can see that right here I get a coherence. Coherence potion effects increase with the coherence stack count up to 30 stacks. This will be lost depending on what your perk is. Again, our perk says the coherence status ends after taking damage equal to 70% of your max HP. It will be gone, the stacks will be gone if you take too much damage, and you will have to restack it. That being said, if you do PvP, this might be useless. But if you do PvE and you never take damage, might be useful. Now, what this injection does is if you hover my mouse on it, at 10 coherence, weapon damage plus 10%. So that means I have to kill 10 enemies, stack it up, and then I will gain 10% weapon damage. At 30 coherence, enter Beyond Mode, consuming 1 coherence per attack, dealing 50 sanity damage to players, and damage equal to 10% of max HP to non-player enemies, up to 5,000. And exit Beyond Mode when coherence is depleted. You kill enemies over and over and over, you stack your coherence, and when you reach 30, you're gonna start losing the stacks, and this perk will work. And once you reach 0, it will exit the Beyond Mode when it's depleted, and then you stack it over again and again. Now on the last perk you can see it says Lighting Gene. In combat, automatically select the nearest enemy within 20 meters every 10 seconds. Generate a lightning strike beneath them after a 3-second delay, dealing damage equal to 4000 PSI intensity. Yes, it's 4000 PSI intensity. So if we have 188 PSI intensity, so for example, I'm going to inject this injection. And since my passive is, well, striking lighting, that's what it does every 20 seconds. Dealing, look at this. It counts for status damage, elemental damage, and damage against common enemies is what increases your damage. And obviously higher PSI intensity will also increase your damage. So look at this. We're going to test it on this deer. Or on this deer. No, it ran away. Alright, let's test this on this deer. Let's see. 9559. We have 20% status damage, 6% common enemies, and 188 PSI intensity. Alright, so this is the formula for the lightning damage. You have your PSI intensity, it's multiplied by the lightning damage, which will give you a total of, which this will be your lightning damage. You also have to do minus 188, like literally your base PSI intensity. I don't know why. I guess to just balance it out, but the damage is still quite high. And then, of course, after your lightning damage applies, you then have your status damage, which mine was 20, and then you have your common enemies, which is 6%. And it doesn't really match the damage. Something else is missing. I'm not sure where the other 60 damage is coming from, but that would be basically the formula. If your lightning does damage, then obviously elemental and status damage will also apply for it. Now, when you craft injections, since mine is judgment, I would have to reroll the perk to get 3 other injections that exist. But you here get to choose the perk for it. So you want either status damage or do you want weapon damage? Is your gun power surge or is your gun bullseye? If it's bullseye, then you take weapon damage, of course. But just depends on what build you're using. So use whatever you need. Then for the acid here, you either take no perk or you take Starlift, which is Beyond Mode. And then when you apply this perk and put it in here when crafting, you will just get that additional perk, which is right here. We already read that. And then the third perk is the last perk that you get. There's only 4 of them. And the one that I have is the Lightning Gene. So that's what my injection has. And of course, there's another one you can put here, which is the Flame Roll. And you can have only 3 perks on the injection. As you can see, it's all included in the perk. So if you're choosing something, just choose depending on your playstyle. And then also choose the genes on your playstyle. I guess soon I will make a full video and update the specialization list for a full list of these perks. But that's about it for the injection. Now, when it comes to the drone, Rosetta drone, there are 3 types of drones. And you can get it again on first or second slot. Once you do get it, you either choose a gathering drone, a firepower drone, a exploring drone, or a territory drone. Now, sadly, I cannot show it to you because I don't have the perk. But once you do pick your own drone, you will get also modules after you level up more and more and more. And then this one, you can see Speedy Module. And it has its own perks for each drone. So if you had a gathering drone on your first or second slot, then you would be getting the perk for the gathering drone, not for firepower, not for exploration. You have to have the specific drone to apply that effect. Only one effect will work, by the way. So for the gathering drone, when the player holds a gathering tool, max stamina increases by 50, movement speed increases by 20, and sprint speed increases by 30. Final hit yield during gathering increases by 200%. This works for tools, this works for pickaxes, this works for trees. So that's kind of insane. But I already also have a gathering drone because someone from my teammates crafted it. And as you can see here, you first need to have the drone. Once you have the drone, when you're crafting the drone, you will need to select the module for it. So whatever module you will put, you'll be able to get that effect, just like you are doing over here. One thing you need to know is if you use a injection like this, then you cannot have a drone out. It's either the injection you use or it's either the drone you use. And you can see we already have a Rosetta gathering drone. We could also get a firepower drone. We could also get the other 2 drones that exist, but only one can be there, released. And you can see that it says the Rosetta gathering drone can be summoned and recalled at any time. If the player hasn't reached their load limit, the drone will automatically seek out and gather the highest level minerals nearby. It has the same HP as the player and attack equal to 50% of PSI intensity. So your drone's attack damage will be of your 50% PSI intensity. And instead of the speedy module, you can put, for example, a different perk, which goes on your mimetics. So here I have a invisible module. And all it does is makes your drone invisible. Automatically consumes 10 Stardust sources to make the drone enter invisible state for 5 minutes. The drone exits invisible state when dealing damage. Now let's kill an enemy. We got a stack right here, coherence. And now if I release my drone, like this, you can see that the coherence stack disappeared, but our drone is now available. And if I hold my gathering tool, I basically become Flash. And if I harvest something and take a look at our copper ore, on the last hit we get 45 copper ore, which is amazing. Now this drone might be useful at early game, but late game it might become useless. But let's talk about the speed though. The speed when you hold a gathering tool is kind of crazy. You're very fast, way more faster than being full buffed. So it's pretty insane. But do note, when the drone gets destroyed, you will lose that buff and you will have to re-release the drone again. And remember that this is unlimited uses. It only expires after 6 days. So after 6 days, you will have to craft a new one. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next for Once Human videos, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care and peace out.